Is brother teach there?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Would you please read the Bao then for me, brother?
Okay.
Thank you.
First one. Second one. Third one.
Okay, we will begin with the master's teachings video. Is the sound okay?
Yes.
Sim对境不动然啊，咱日常生活的境界，听看，心未对着声音，景色而移动，这实在是难。咱坐落来，静落来。咱听到伫内底电风的声音，接落来呢，就是外面有远距离的车声、近距离的车声，或者是伫咱真近外面啊，树丛。叫叫一声，这种声音，不管是伫远伫近，咱拢总分得真清楚。咱去甲伊分别，这个车好亲像抑搁真远的声，咱的心呢，都已经。动得远去啦，去甲伊分别，讲这个车已经我来近啦，那么咱的心啊，就动得近的境界，或者是听到微微电风的声，那就是伫真正的境界，还是听出了。微细的声音，总讲一句，咱日常的生活，这个生活中无离开声甲色，声音，咱不管是，就是对着声音伫咧动咱的心，咱嘛是。对着这个境界的色彩、形形色色，伫咧动咱的心。看，这就是境啊，不断伫咧转，咱的心啊，嘛是不断对伊动。所以讲，心伫境中。不受境转，这真正是真难。在佛典中啊，有安尼一段的故事。有一位国王是真虔诚的佛教徒。常常听佛说法，伊真无法度通理解，要安怎互心会当静落来？ 有一天，伊就向伊的大神讲：安怎样会人袂去受外面的境界所影响？有的大神就甲讲：无可能的代志。其中有一位大神就讲：有一个方法，国王该试验看卖咧。用什么方法啊？大神就讲：国王不服啊，将近期就爱处死刑的犯人，该叫出来试验，甲伊放出来，甲伊讲：这碗油，甲放在头壳顶，若下当无抓出去，写伊一个免死的罪，我想伊一定会真用心。国王就讲：伊若会当有这种的功夫，竟不动心，也价值得该赦免伊罪。就安尼呢，甲死刑犯啊叫出来。国王就安尼讲：你是不是有想要求生？这位死犯一直向国王叩头。国王，若会当互我再重生一次，我一定会当改过自新。国王就讲：要救你的人，唯有你家己。我用这碗油放伫你的头壳顶，你若会当互这碗油无有一滴抓出来外面，就会当赦你的死罪，互你自由。这是一个求生唯一的机会。这死犯啊接受啦，开始就把这碗油倒甲满出来，放在头壳顶，叫伊伫街仔路行。国王呢派一寡艺妓伫迄个街仔路面跳舞唱歌，一寡乐师啊也伫迄个所在伴奏，甚至呢也有杂技啊伫迄个所在。表演伊的特技的功夫，拢该展现伫这个街路面里。这个死刑犯头壳顶着一碗油，确实真正的用心。伫这个面头前一条路，甲头壳顶一碗油，这条街路啦，行头来到国王的面前。国王叫人甲伊验看卖的，竟然无有一滴去互伊流出去，这是真正一分的功夫。国王问伊讲：你拄则伫路面伫咧行，你听到什么声？看到什么物件？我无听到什么声。国王问伊讲：遐个乐师伫迄个所在奏乐，你敢无听到？我真正一点仔声音都无听到。国王问艺妓啊，伫迄个所在伫咧表演，你敢拢无看到？遐尼真侪的美丽啊，你拢无看到？真正我无看到。迄当阵你心伫咧想啥物？我心啥物都无想。干那希望会当头壳顶一碗油，一滴都唔通去互伊流出去，这是我唯一的希望。国王听到，真正是真感动，真正赦免伊无罪啦，互伊有一个自由的身躯。这位用刑法会当得到了死罪赦免，会当有再生的机会。这一次，伊真正改过自新啊！因为伊知影人生难得啊，这呼吸自由、行动自由是偌尼正宝贵啊！恶有恶报伫外面啊，飞飞闪烁啊！惹来了这么正大杀身祸端，伊真正满心忏悔，所以伊就到佛陀的面前，忏悔过去的罪恶， 甚至求佛陀会当互伊出家。佛陀就讲：你修行哪会当亲像伫迄当阵头壳顶滴着这碗油，互油拢无有流出来，这个功夫时时用伫你日常的生活中，你修行的功夫就得啦。咱将这段故事咱会当去体会。真正人要讲对外的境界拢总无影响，咱的心真正是真难。但是呢，求生的心切，人若是伫迄个生死边缘的中间，伫遐伫咧挣扎，只要有一线的生机啦，迄当阵，伊会当头我讲，安尼紧紧的把握着它，这就是一位要求生的人的心态。其实生命会当头我永生吗？不可能。咱这当阵上重要要救的呢，是慧命。慧命本来就是不生不灭。要安怎让这个慧命呢，会当头时时展现伫咱的面头前？这个慧命不受外面的境界甲咱污染，这呢就要靠咱日常的生活，好好来磨练，好好甲伊保护着，保护着外面的境界，唔通呢污染着咱清净的慧命要保护咱清净的慧命，只敢若有一项的功夫，就是爱多用心啊。
Okay. So in the video, Master spoke about when we are exposed to the external conditions, it's difficult for our mind to remain still. So it's difficult for our mind to be undisturbed. So we are going to be talking about the state of our mind and the frame of our mind versus the external conditions and the environment. So does our mind revolve around the external conditions or the other way around? Our mind and the conditions are not separable. They are hand in hand with each other. So when our mind don't get disturbed by the external conditions, then we can get the real joy and freedom. For example, when we are upset and sad, and we're being negative about things, everything we see or encounter, we will not feel happy and comfortable about it. So when we are negative, we are sad, upset, everything we see, everything we feel, everything we touch are not pleasant. But on the opposite side, when a person is cherished and valued, whatever you do, it will echo with your heart. And all of a sudden, your world is full of energy. Your life is full of hope. So this is saying that when the external conditions revolves around your mind, especially the positive and the peaceful mind, then you can be happy. But if your mind revolves around the external conditions and revolves around the things that's happening around you, and then your mood will go up and down, then you are troubled. I'm going to share a story with you quickly. So a lot of people will encounter similar situations like this lady in the story. So when you are originally living a peaceful and happy life, and because you own something, you are happy about the things you own. And once when you lose it, then you become very painful and you feel hurt. So in the story, there is a lady, she got betrayed by her husband, and her kid also died in a car accident. So she is devastated. She just wants to commit suicide. So when she commits suicide, there is a monk who saved her. Then this lady asked the monk, I wanted to die. Why would you save me? Because I'm going to commit suicide again anyways. The monk then, after he hears this lady, then he just smiled and asked her, why do you want to commit suicide? Then this lady replies, I was abandoned by my husband, and then my child is dead. I'm all left alone. Why should I be living alone? Then she cries. Then the monk then asked the lady, so before you met your husband, how did you live your life? The lady replies, I was happy all along, and then eventually I met the person who loved me, and I married him, but I didn't know he would abandon me one day, she says with hatred. Then the monk shakes his head and tells her, why are you so bitter about it? The you at the very moment is exactly the same as the you previously before you met your husband. You are all just alone by yourself. Now the destiny has given you another chance to make a new decision. Why aren't you happy about it? So after the lady heard about what the monk said, then she suddenly realizes, yes, I didn't lose anything and I didn't gain anything. I just returned to the original me. Why would I have to die? So this story tells us our mindset decides how we perceive things. What is really going to accompany us throughout our life is the state of our mind, the frame of our mind, our wisdom life that is everlasting, like Master證嚴mentioned in the video. All the stuff like health, wealth, beauty, power, they are all impermanent. Even our thoughts, they change all the time. Then we're going to talk about how we practice to control our mind so that we are always focusing on the right thing from the right angle. So we are going to be talking about meditation. Do you guys know what is meditation? Have you ever heard of this word before?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So meditation is a very good method of practicing and controlling our mind. Is it a waste of time to just sit there and do nothing? Hence meditation. Many world's most successful founders and CEOs also promote meditation. As busy as they are, why would they waste their time to do the meditation? If you trace the meditation's history, it can be traced back to many thousands of years ago. It was initially a religious practice. So it used to be an activity that the religious people, like the monks, they do it. But it is now also backed by brain science. We will talk about how it affects our brain later. What exactly is meditation? It is not just sitting there and blank out, but it's also not sitting there and thinking so hard about something. So meditation has no standard concept and definition. So for personal understanding, meditation it is that when you are focused at now, the very specific moment now, to observe your thoughts, your breath, your body, your mood, and your environment. So you don't think about your past, you don't think about your future. That is the personal understanding of meditation that from my side. And I'm sure if you go up to Google, you will find a lot of more relevant stuff about meditation. But today we're just going to talk about it briefly. So the most common one is the most common meditation method is to focus on your breath. So when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you breathe in. Then you count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you breathe out when you are breathing out. That's the most common way, is focusing on your breath. That's how you can meditate. That's one way of meditation. And we're going to talk about a little bit how meditation will boost our brain. So it will boost our self-awareness, our compassion, our creativity, our focus, our positivity, and our memory. So by doing a lot of meditation, it will boost all this stuff that I just mentioned above. But what it does also, when you are meditating, the regions that controls the part of pressure, anxiety, and negative thinking is not active. So when you are doing meditation, the parts that controls pressure, anxiety, and negative thinking in your brain are suppressed. So the more meditation you do, the more suppressed those feelings you have. So for an ordinary person, every day we have about 50,000 thoughts. So every day, each person have approximately 50,000 thoughts that's in our head. And then according to our nature, unfortunately, 80% of it is mostly negative. So if we keep using and exercising the negative thinking, those regions in our brain that controls and correspond with pressure, anxiety, and negative thinking will grow stronger and bigger. So meditation is to switch those stuff off and reset. And when our mind is trained to be focused on the right thing and not to be distracted and affected by the external conditions, when you are exposed to the external conditions, are you in the driver's seat or you are just a passenger? So are you driving your mood or you have been driven by your mood? So are you on the driver's seat or the passenger seat on the journey of your mind experiences? So in conclusion, Master's teaching and the story that we saw in the video is an ideal concept of how it should be done. And I'm going to play you another video. It's about 9 minutes. Try to stay with me. And this following video is going to explain about the technical part of how it can be done, hence the meditation part.
We live in an incredibly busy world. The pace of life is often frantic, our minds are always busy, and we're always doing something. So, with that in mind, I'd like you just to take a moment to think, when did you last take any time to do nothing? Just 10 minutes, undisturbed. And when I say nothing, I do mean nothing. So that's no emailing, texting, no internet, no TV, no chatting, no eating, no reading. Not even sitting there reminiscing about the past or planning for the future. Simply doing nothing. I see a lot of very blank faces. My thinking is probably have to go a long way back. And this is an extraordinary thing, right? We're talking about our mind. The mind, our most valuable and precious resource through which we experience every single moment of our life. The mind that we rely upon to be happy, content, emotionally stable as individuals, and at the same time to be kind and thoughtful and considerate in our relationships with others. This is the same mind that we depend upon to be focused, creative, spontaneous, and to perform at our very best in everything that we do. And yet, we don't take any time out to look after it. In fact, we spend more time looking after our cars, our clothes, and our hair than we... Okay, maybe not our hair, but... You see where I'm going. The result, of course, is that we get stressed. You know, the mind whizzes away like a washing machine going round and round, lots of difficult, confusing emotions. And we don't really kind of know how to deal with that. And the sad fact is that we are so distracted that we're no longer present in the world in which we live. We miss out on the things that are most important to us. And the crazy thing is that everybody just assumes, well, that's the way life is, so we just kind of got to get on with it. But that's really not how it has to be. So I was about 11 when I went along to my first meditation class. And trust me, it had all the stereotypes that you can imagine, sitting cross-legged on the floor, the incense, the herbal tea, the vegetarians, the whole deal. But my mum was going, and I was intrigued, so I went along with her. I'd also seen a few kung fu movies, and secretly I kind of thought I might be able to learn how to fly, but I was very young at the time, you know. Now, as I was there, you know, I guess like a lot of people, I assumed that it was just an aspirin for the mind. You get stressed, you do some meditation. I hadn't really thought that it could be sort of preventative in nature. Until I was about sort of 20, when a number of things happened in my life in quite quick succession. Really serious things, which just flipped my life upside down. And all of a sudden, I was inundated with thoughts, inundated with difficult emotions that I didn't know how to cope with. Every time I sort of pushed one down, another one would just sort of pop back up again. It was a really very stressful time. I guess we all deal with stress in different ways. Some people will bury themselves in work, grateful for the distraction. Others will turn to their friends, their family, looking for support. Some people hit the bottle, start taking medication. My own way of dealing with it was to become a monk. So I quit my degree, I headed off to the Himalayas, I became a monk, and I started studying meditation. People often ask me, you know, what I learned from that time. Well, obviously it changed things, you know. Let's face it, becoming a celibate monk is going to change a number of things. But it was more than that. You know, it taught me, it gave me a greater appreciation and understanding for the present moment. By that, I mean not being lost in thought, not being distracted, not being overwhelmed by difficult emotions, but instead learning how to be in the here and now, how to be mindful, how to be present. I think the present moment is so underrated. It sounds so ordinary, and yet we spend so little time in the present moment that it's anything but ordinary. There was a research paper that came out of Harvard just recently that said, on average, our minds are lost in thought almost 47% of the time. 47%. At the same time, this sort of constant mind-wandering is also a direct cause of unhappiness. Now, we're not here for that long anyway, but to spend almost half of our life lost in thought and potentially quite unhappy, don't know, it's just, it kind of seems tragic, actually, especially when there's something we can do about it. When there's a positive, practical, achievable, scientifically proven technique which allows our mind to be more healthy, to be more mindful and less distracted. And the beauty of it is that even though it kind of need only take about 10 minutes a day, it impacts our entire life. But we need to know how to do it. We need an exercise, we need a framework to learn how to be more mindful. That's essentially what meditation is. It's familiarizing ourselves with the present moment. But we also need to know how to approach it in the right way to get the best from it. And that's what these are for, in case you've been wondering. Because most people assume that meditation is all about sort of stopping thoughts, getting rid of emotions, somehow controlling the mind. But actually it's quite different from that. It's more about sort of stepping back, sort of seeing the thought clearly, witnessing it coming and going, emotions coming and going without judgment, but with a relaxed, focused mind. So for example, right now, if I focus too much on the balls, then there's no way that I can relax and talk to you at the same time. Equally, if I relax too much talking to you, then there's no way I can focus on the balls. I'm going to drop them. Now in life and in meditation, there'll be times when the focus becomes a little bit too intense and life starts to feel a bit like this. It's a very uncomfortable way to live life when we get this tight and stressed. At other times, we might take our foot off the gas a little bit too much and things just become a little bit like this. And of course, in meditation, we can end up falling asleep. So we're looking for a balance of focused relaxation where we can allow thoughts to come and go without all the usual involvement. Now, what usually happens when we're learning to be mindful is that we get distracted by a thought. Let's say this is an anxious thought. So everything's going fine, and then we see the anxious thought, and it's like, oh, didn't realize I was worried about that. You go back to it, repeat it. Oh, I am worried. Oh, I really am worried. Wow, there's so much anxiety. And before we know it, right, we're anxious about feeling anxious. You know, this is crazy. we do this all the time, even on an everyday kind of level. If you think about the last time, I don't know, you had a wobbly tooth. You know it's wobbly, and you know that it hurts. But what do you do every 20, 30 seconds? I don't know. I don't know. It does hurt. And we reinforce the storyline, right? And we just keep telling ourselves. And we do it all the time, and it's only in learning to watch the mind in this way that we can start to let go of those storylines and patterns of mind. But when you sit down and you watch the mind in this way, you might see many different patterns. You might find a mind that's really sort of restless and the whole time. You know, don't be surprised if you feel a bit agitated in your body when you sit down to do nothing and your mind feels like that. You might find a mind that's very sort of dull and boring, and it's just almost mechanical. It just sort of seems to, it's as if you're just sort of getting up, going to work, eat, sleep, get up. Or it might just be that one little nagging thought that just goes round and round and round to your mind. Whatever it is, meditation offers the opportunity, the potential to step back and to get a different perspective, to see that things aren't always as they appear. You know, we can't change every little thing that happens to us in life, but we can change the way that we experience it. That's the potential of meditation, of mindfulness. You don't have to burn any incense, and you definitely don't have to sit on the floor. All you need to do is to take 10 minutes out a day to step back, to familiarize yourself with the present moment so that you get to experience a greater sense of focus, calm, and clarity in your life. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so like I will repeat again the conclusion of like these two videos. So master's teaching and the story is the ideal concept of how it should be done, like how we should not get affected with our mind to the external condition. And the second video is to help us to explain the technical part of how it can be done, which is through meditation. So anybody are experienced with meditation, perhaps? No? Okay, we skip this part first. Let's first hear if anybody would like to share anything about these two videos we just watched. It can be master's teaching, or it can be the second video that we watched.
Hello, Sister Katie.
Hello, Brother Foreman.
Yes, I want to share from the video that we watched from Master's teaching.
Yes, please.
Okay, so in that video, I have learned that for us to walk this path of spiritual cultivation, we must be focused. We mustn't allow things that are outside to influence you or to take your eyesight off the ball. You must always focus on what you want to achieve and also on your spiritual cultivation. See, when the prisoner was sent out to walk with the bowl of oil, he kept on walking. He did not focus on other things. He did not listen to the music that was playing. He did not notice the dancers that were dancing, but he was focused on achieving the goal that he must arrive back with the oil full, with nothing spilled on him. So as we are working on this path of spiritual cultivation, we must also be focused, knowing that we must focus on the end goal instead of looking at things that will disturb us or not, to make us focus on the mission that we are already on. Yeah, that's what I learned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very well said. Anyone else would like to share? No one? Anybody? No? Okay. Then we will first now conclude for today. I think we all know what we have to do. Like also even Brother Foreman shared that we have to try and stay focused on our spiritual cultivation for our spiritual life. But sometimes it's not difficult. I mean, sometimes it's very difficult for us because our mind is not so well controlled by us. And then meditation would actually help with it, with the method. So if you guys are interested, you're more than welcome to try it, and then maybe in the future when we have a chance we can discuss about it. And I just lastly want to ask, because last week we did sign-ups for some people that they're gonna participate in eating less meat weekly on weekly basis. So how is that going?
No, you can come and tell us.
How is it going for the first week? Is it like, wow, I miss meat so much when I couldn't eat it? Or it's like, vegetarian food could also be nice? Or it's how is it going with it the first week? Was it difficult?
I've lost weight. She can't hear you. Samantha, come. Samantha,
Should we give some more time and then practice for a longer period of time? Then we will share and discuss about it. Oh, you want to share now? No?
Samantha wants to share. Samantha.
In a month's time.
Samantha wants to share.
Oh, Samantha want to share. All right, yes. Please.
Hello, Sister Kitty.
Hello, Sister Samantha.
Okay, I just want to say about this vegetarian thing. So far it hasn't been easy, but at least I tried 3 days. So I think as time goes on, maybe I'll go to 4 days, 5 days, because the goal is to eat at least once in a week. Yeah. So yeah, I would say I'm enjoying it for now, but I don't know. Maybe next month I will want to meet again for the whole week. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, start trying is always the first step. And then I'm sure because sometimes we also will miss the taste of meat. So which is quite difficult and irresistible. But we can take small steps, baby steps, little by little. If it's a little too much, then maybe we can try in like once in 2 weeks' time, or so on, so on. Okay, anyone else would like to share? Should we conclude for today?
Michelle, thank you. She's coming.
Waiting for Michelle, she's coming.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I failed. But I'll try next week. Afternoon, Sister Kathy.
Good afternoon, Sister Michelle.
Okay, so I failed this week, but next week, Monday, because I promised to do 1 day, so I'll try next week and see how it goes.
All right. Thank you so much for waiting to try. And if there are more people want to sign up this week, you are also more than welcome to challenge yourself. And the challenge lies here. It's not only by stopping to eat meat. you also have to fulfill, in the beginning stage, you still have to fulfill what you want the good taste in your mouth. So you have to be creative with your cuisines and your food. So it also needs a bit of a brain work on how to play with your ingredients, so you are able to achieve similar good taste that you would actually gain from meat. So this is also where the challenging lies. And then, yeah. So keep going. Whoever already signed up, and you're more than welcome to sign up this week as well. All right. Should we conclude for today?
Yes.
Okay. Is Brother Teach here yet? Oh, okay. Brother Foreman, can you lead us the bow?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
First bow. Second bow. Third bow.
Omikopo. Thank you. See you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.